A very warm good morning, dear students of class 8B. Welcome to your social science class. So, students, as you all know, we are doing the chapter Mineral and Power Resources. So, till now, we have understood about the meaning of minerals, what minerals are, the types of minerals, that means how are minerals classified. Then, we also discussed about the various processes or the various ways of extraction of minerals, and then we discussed about the uses of minerals, why are minerals used, and we also came to know about the need for conserving the minerals and the ways by which we can conserve the minerals. So students, before starting with today's class, we will first do a revision on what we did in our previous class. After that, we will proceed with our today's class. So students, in the last class, we discussed about three topics. First, extraction of minerals. Second, the various uses of minerals. And third, conservation of minerals. So students, let us first discuss or recapitulate extraction of minerals. So extraction of minerals means taking out of minerals from the earth's surface. So the extraction of minerals includes three processes: mining, drilling, and quarrying. So students, as far as mining is concerned, it is the process of taking out minerals from the rocks which are buried deep inside the earth's surface. Okay? And students, mining is further subdivided into two types, that is open cast mining and shaft mining. So students, open cast mining, in case of open cast minings, the minerals which lie at shallow depth, that means the minerals which are not too deep inside the earth, they can be simply removed by that means they can be simply taken out by removing the top layer. Okay, so that is known as open cast mining. So in open cast minings, the minerals which lie near the earth's surface, they can be easily taken out by removing the surface layer. Whereas students, in shaft mining, which is the other type of mining, the minerals which lie at great depth, they are to be taken out. How? By making deep bores. Okay, and these deep bores are called shaft. So in shaft mining, the minerals which are lying deep inside the earth, which lie at great depth, are to be taken out by making deep bores called shafts. And then students, the second method of extraction of minerals is drilling. So students, in drilling, the deep bores are made, okay, to take the minerals out. And in drilling, the minerals which are mostly in liquid or in gaseous state are taken out. For example, petroleum and natural gas. Then students, the third method is quarrying. So quarrying is almost similar to open cast mining. The only trivial difference or minor difference is that quarrying is specifically performed in quarries. Quarries are the places where buildings or rock materials are found. Okay. So the minerals which lie near the surface of the earth, they are simply dug out under the process of quarrying. Okay. So these are the various ways of extraction of minerals. And then students, the uses of minerals. Why are minerals used? Minerals are used for a variety of purposes, right from the cooking utensils to the various industries to the jewelries. Everything requires minerals. The coins, the pipes, the bottles, automobiles, the airplanes, everything has minerals in it. Okay, so minerals are used for a variety of purpose. Minerals, in fact, are there in your food also, right from zinc to calcium to iron to iodine, etc. And students, now coming to the conservation of minerals. Why we need to conserve minerals? We need to conserve minerals because minerals are non-renewable resources, which means that if these mineral resources are exhausted, they will take thousands of years for their regeneration, which is far more than the lifespan of human beings. Okay, so this means that if the present generation overuses or exploits the mineral resources, then various upcoming generations might not be able to take the benefit of these mineral resources. So it's high time that we should think of conserving or protecting the minerals, because students, the present rate at which human beings are using these mineral resources, it is much higher than the rate at which minerals are regenerated on earth by the environment. Okay, so for this we can adopt two methods. First, we can avoid the wastage of minerals that takes place under the process of mining. So students, under mining, what happens? In order to extract the minerals, when we extract the minerals, some of the minerals are they are wasted in the process. Okay, so we should try to prevent this wastage of minerals through the process of mining as far as possible. So it's better we should resort to some other alternative methods. And the second way by which we can conserve the minerals is recycling. Recycling means using the already used minerals in some alternative uses, by putting them into some alternative uses. Or it can also be done in a way that the used minerals can be converted into something useful. Okay, so that is how we can conserve the minerals. One, by reducing the wastage. Second, by recycling. Alright, so students, this is what we discussed in the last class. So let us now proceed to today's class. So students, these are the learning outcomes of today's class. Today we will discuss about power, which is another very important aspect of minerals. Okay, so we will know about the meaning of power and the importance of power or energy. And then students, we will also know about the various types of power or energy. So students, what is power or energy? When you wake up in the morning, right from the time you wake up, we use a variety of gadgets. Okay, suppose if it is a cold weather, when you wake up and you go to bath, you need to switch on the geyser, isn't it, to heat the water. Okay, then students, now it's time for your breakfast, so you need to make your breakfast in the gas stove, right? Suppose you want to have a glass of juice. For that, you will probably make the juice in a blender. Okay, now it's time you have to go to school. For that, you need to iron your uniform. So for ironing the uniform, you need to use power, right? Suppose students, you need to switch on the light, that will also require power. Suppose you need to switch on the fan, that will also require power. So you see students, power is required in every walk of our life. So power is very crucial or a very important aspect of our life. It plays a very important role in our life. Now the question is, what is power? So power or energy, it refers to the quantitative property or the quality that must be transferred to an object to enable the object to perform its work, okay, by heating the object. For example, students, consider the example of a bulb, okay, a light bulb. A light bulb without power is of no use. It is of use only because it has power in it. Okay, the geyser which we are using to heat the water is of no use if there is no power. The lights, the fans, the mixer grinder, these things are of no use if there is no power. So power or energy is required to enable an object to perform its work. When we transfer this power to the object, then only the object can perform its work. Okay, so students, you see how important power is. We need power not only in our household but also in the industries to run the various machines, in agriculture to run the various irrigational machines, in transportation to run the vehicles, in communication, in the computers, in the laptops, etc., and in defense, in the various arms and ammunitions. Okay, so students, this is known as power resource. And power resource is broadly classified into conventional and non-conventional resources. So students, in the flow chart you can see on one hand there is conventional resources and on the other hand we have the non-conventional resources. And students, conventional resources or conventional sources of energy are further subdivided into commercial and non-commercial. So what is commercial? Commercial sources of energy are those energy which can be bought and sold in the market, which are tradable, which can be traded, right? You cannot get those sources of energy for free. They will cost you money. You need to pay for it, okay? On the other hand, students, the non-commercial sources of energy are free. They are free gift of nature. They are available in the nature. So they are not bought and sold in the market. So the conventional sources are divided into commercial and non-commercial sources. So the commercial sources include coal, oil, natural gas, thermal power, petroleum, etc. While the non-commercial sources include firewood, hydropower, nuclear power, etc. And students, the non-conventional sources. The non-conventional sources include solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, biomass-based energy. So let us now find out the difference between these conventional and non-conventional sources of energy. So students, the conventional sources of energy such as thermal power means the power which is obtained from heat and light, for example coal, petroleum, natural gas. Then hydel power, which is obtained from running water. They are tapped and used abundantly at present. That means the conventional sources of energy are they are used at present frequently, okay? Whereas students, the non-conventional sources of energy, they are not used frequently, okay? And even though they are not used in a large scale. They are used in a very less quantity, okay? Second point, the conventional sources, their uses are practiced for a long time. That means they have been in use or they have been in practice for a very, very long time. But students, the non-conventional sources of energy are not so much in use. They are still in their developmental phase. That means they are yet to be developed completely. Okay? Third point, except hydel power, the various sources of conventional sources, they are non-renewable in nature. So this means that the conventional sources, they are non-renewable. They are limited in stock. So if you use them continuously, if you exploit them continuously, they might completely get exhausted, okay? But students, this is not the case as far as the non-conventional sources are concerned, because the non-conventional sources are renewable. That means they can get regenerated quickly, okay? So you do not have to worry about their exhaustion. Understood? Then see the next point. Except hydel power, students, the various conventional sources produces air pollution. That means they can pollute the environment, which means that they are not eco-friendly. But students, the non-conventional sources, they do not produce any pollution, which means that they are eco-friendly. Then students, come to the last point. Except hydel power, the various conventional energy resources are very costly. That means they will cost you a very huge amount of money. But students, the non-conventional sources, they are comparatively much cheaper, okay? So students, this is how you can differentiate between conventional and non-conventional sources, and by comparing them we can easily understand that the non-conventional sources of energy are better or superior to the conventional sources. Why? Because the non-conventional sources, they are not completely developed, which means that there is so much of scope to develop them and to use them. But students, the conventional sources are already used so much that now they are on the verge of exhaustion, okay? If you continue to use them at this rate, they might get completely exhausted. Then students, the non-conventional sources, they do not cause any pollution, whereas the conventional sources do cause pollution, okay? And students, the non-conventional sources, since they are free, they are obtained from nature, they are comparatively cheaper. But the conventional sources, they are costly, okay? So students, this is the difference between conventional and non-conventional sources of energy, okay? These are your homework questions. So what is the power resource? We have already discussed it. So a power resource is the quantitative property that have to be transferred to an object to enable the object to perform its work or to heat the object. Okay, then bring out the importance of power or energy in our lives. So power or energy is required in the households, it is required in agriculture, it is required in industry, in telecommunication, in defense, etc. So you need to write any 3 points. Okay, then the second question, why are non-conventional sources of energy superior to or better than conventional sources? So students, we have already discussed this. The non-conventional sources of energy are superior to or better than conventional sources because they are not yet completely developed. They are still in their developmental phase. Whereas the conventional sources of energy have been in use for a very long time. This is the first point. Second, you can write that the non-conventional sources are renewable. That means they can get regenerated again and again. Whereas the conventional sources are non-renewable. That means there is a chance that they might get exhausted. Okay. Then the conventional sources are very costly, but the non-conventional sources are comparatively cheaper. And then the non-conventional sources are eco-friendly, they do not cause pollution, but the conventional sources, they cause pollution. Okay, so 5 points are given. You kindly write the 5 points, and students, you need to submit the homework today in between 8 to 9 p.m. in your Google Classroom against the assignment which has been created. Alright, and in case you have any doubt or difficulty, do ask me. Okay then everyone, thank you so much. Have a nice day.